Hi, good morning, everybody. I've been taking the last couple of weeks to really pause and reflect after a huge amount of activity in the first sort of 3 weeks of COVID-19 and all the ambiguity and changes that happened so unbelievably quickly. Um, and one of the things I think I left you with at the end of my last recording was about the future is ours to create. It's quite a big statement, and I know all owner managers and certainly all leaders in companies are thinking about how to move ahead when we know that the COVID-19 isn't going anywhere soon, and we've got to run our businesses and run our professional lives and our personal lives living with COVID-19. Liz Nottingham and I were speaking about 10 days ago. She and I run Back to Business Ship together, and she's a coach as well. And we were talking about the cycle that people go through when they go through a crisis, and I definitely recognised some of the stages of the cycle that she was talking about. And the first is one of sort of disorientation and crazy activity, trying to be there to help people and advise them, and to get one's family safe. That's the first most important thing on a personal level. And then the next stage is one of altruism and volunteering and doing whatever you can for the local community and wider society to do your bit as a company and an individual. And then the third stage is one of like, wow, actually, this is pretty bad. Nothing's going to be the same again. We're all going to have to sort of relook at our lives and our businesses and the way we run our businesses. So kind of disillusionment and sadness, actually, that things are really never going to go back to the way that they were. And the guilt that goes with that for even daring to think about one's own personal situation. I have got my boys back at home living with us in their early 20s, and I don't think I would ever expected to have had that opportunity of so much time with them. They would never come home for a 6 week stretch at a time, and nor would I expect them to. So, one goes through guilt of even thinking about oneself once one's close family are safe. So I think the next stage is one of acceptance, and realizing that one actually has to rearrange and reconstruct one's life and one's organization. And I think we're all going to be living with this for a very long time now. So we do need to probably accept that we need to all move on. Now, some of you might be way through that cycle. I know it's taken me probably 4 weeks to get through that cycle and to be, looking at the other end and thinking, right, okay, I set up my business very much based on Charles Handy. He's a business management guru from the 80s, wrote a book called The Age of Unreason. All of you would have read it, and subsequent books of his. And he talked about our organisations being shaped like a shamrock leaf, so with a very a sort of small core of experts, and then contract workers, flexible workers around the outside, and our freelance group that we brought in when we needed to beef up our organisations. And then a fourth area of the shamrock leaf was that our actual customers would do quite a lot of the work for us. And we've seen that through the technical revolution over the last decade, customers doing a lot of the work for us. And it made me look back at why we set F1 up in the very first place, and that was to offer organisations more flexibility around their hiring. We wanted to see a gender balanced future. We wanted to see more diversity. We wanted to see more inclusion. We wanted to see more job shares. And now feels like the time that organisations have got to actually really redefine themselves and be brave and look at restructuring themselves so that they are more fluid, they are more agile, they are more inclusive, they do have more community partnerships. They're gender balanced throughout, they're output focused, they don't need people at the offices so much, that there's more humanity, that they're more socially balanced, that they really understand their why, they understand what they mean by culture, what they mean by values. Is everybody in the organisation really practicing and walking those values every single day? Do they have more societal impact? Are they intergenerational? Is technology actually working alongside humans, or are we trying to replace humans with technology? And is that really the best way to go? Shouldn't technology be working alongside humans to give the best possible service to clients, and for us all to be more imaginative about what we do, but using technology, embracing technology, not putting it putting it instead of the human touch. How can we be more inclusive? And what is our why, and how do we redefine flexibility? Because I think all of the organisations that are brave enough to redefine what they mean by being fluid, being flexible, are definitely going to come out on top of this crisis and this disaster. I think the next few weeks we're going to see redundancy programs really kicking in, whether furloughing carries on beyond June into July or not. Clearly, the government needs to focus now on some sort of, I don't want to call it exit. It's not about an exit strategy. It's more about we now have to put the economy back to work. We have to kickstart the economy now. And we all need to think about how we get our companies moving again. I mean, certainly the recruitment industry has taken a big hit. A lot of the assignments that we've been working on have gone on hold. We are still working on a number of assignments, but most of our clients won't make hires until they've actually met people on a face-to-face basis, which I completely understand, and I wouldn't want them to hire if they haven't met people face-to-face, if they feel that strongly about it. But I'm hoping over the next few weeks we will start to see more roles come back on, and companies starting to really interview again. But I think there will be a redundancy programme over the next few weeks that will take precedence over everything else. And then hopefully once we get back into July and August, and we start to work out how we all socially distance our employees when we are allowed to come back to our offices. But there may be some organisations that decide to leave all their people working from home. So it's going to be an interesting next few weeks, and I'll be back in touch. And if any of you recognise anything that I've been talking about today, do drop me an email. We are interviewing candidates, most certainly at the moment, for when the uptick comes, whenever that may be. Thank you.